Hello and welcome to another playthrough video. Now on this channel I like to play old retro games, including Sonic games, which are some of my favourite platformers. And I've covered all of the 16-bit titles, but I've not really covered all of the 8-bit titles, except for Sonic 2, which I have done a playthrough for. So I'm going to rectify that. We're going to go right back to the start with Sonic the Hedgehog 1, the 8-bit versions. But which version am I going to play? Is it going to be the Master System or the Game Gear? Now, I used to think that Game Gear and Master System games are exactly the same and that the only difference was the screen size, but that's not actually the case. With Sonic the Hedgehog 1, the developers made quite a few differences to level design and graphics to accommodate the Game Gear and to take advantage of its strengths and work around its weaknesses. In this video, I'm going to be playing the Master System version and the Game Gear version. Now, I'm not using original hardware here. This is done through emulation, but I'm not going to be using any emulator save states. This is going to be a playthrough all in one go, but the caveat to that is that the Game Gear version has been edited to better align with the Master System version as I'm playing through it, so it has been cut and sped up in places. But aside from that, it's going to be a normal playthrough, comparison video, a review, rambling thoughts as I go. So without further ado, let's get started. The Game Gear version has a little extra Sega splash screen there. It also has a start button. The Master System didn't have a start button, it just had two face buttons. As you can see, everything's a little more cramped on the Game Gear. You'll probably notice three things to start with. First of all, is the Sonic sprite is different in the Game Gear. They actually redrew all the animation sprites for Sonic. Second thing you'll probably notice is that the screen space is obviously a lot more cramped on the Game Gear. That's because the Game Gear had a lower resolution screen, and so when you put the same graphics onto it, it takes up more space. The other thing you may notice is that the Game Gear looks brighter. I don't know whether that's something to do with the emulator or whether it originally looked like that. It could be that Game Gear games had to be brighter in order to make up for the relative darkness of the screen. I mean, I don't remember. It's been a very long time since I played on an actual Game Gear. You'll notice here the Game Gear version has little signposts to warn you of drops, because you can't see the drops quite as well as you can on the Master System. Another one there. Game Gear Sonic also can't jump quite as high. You can't jump up on that little platform there. I don't think the level design is bigger, I think his jump height is just slightly shorter. I'm not quite sure why. But the level design was amended, was changed to accommodate the smaller screen space. So it's not a big deal. It's interesting that these signposts, they spin. The spinning signpost that flies up in the air, rather, because the ones that fly up in the air, that wasn't introduced till Sonic 3 on the Mega Drive. These are the special stages, or rather the bonus stages. You'll note the Master System version gives you 1 minute, the Game Gear version gave you 2 minutes. I think the Game Gear version is simpler as well. It's easier to find your way through. Basically, the bonus levels are where you pick up extra lives and continues, not Chaos Emeralds. Chaos Emeralds you find in the zones themselves. Just try to get as many of these rings as possible, although I'm running out of time now. You have to actually cross the line to keep anything you collected, so I've got to try and get over... Oh god. I've got to try and get over this. Come on! Oh, 10 seconds! Come on, that's it, yeah. Okay, so I've got to continue. I think I picked up an extra life as well. I don't know what the Robotnik signpost at the end means, but there we go. So, on to Act 2. Green Hill Act 2 features a lot of underground sections. That is an idea that was revisited in Sonic Mania. the sort of underground beneath Green Hill. I've got a shield here. You'll notice the shield on the Game Gear looks a bit smaller, but otherwise it's the same effect. The Master System couldn't do transparency effect, so the shield is a kind of flickering effect. The water as well is not a transparency. I think that's using some sort of checkerboard pattern. Yeah, that's interesting. Level design is a bit different here. The checkpoint box is up here on the Game Gear, and the level design is a little bit simpler. But the Chaos Emerald is in the same place. You just have to go through here, mind the spikes, drop down, and there it is. So that's one Chaos Emerald. Yeah, there are 6 Chaos Emeralds in total. There's 1 in each zone, so I don't have to worry about getting another Chaos Emerald in this zone now, because that was the only one. See if I can get another 100 rings. If you get 100 rings, you get an extra life, but it does then zero your ring count. So 100 is the maximum, and then it goes back to 0. There are some quite fast bits in this version of Sonic. It's not as fast a game as the 16-bit versions, but it does have some fast bits in it. I think the trouble with the 8-bit versions is that they do slow down quite a lot. Anything more than like 3 or 4 objects on screen at once, and the game tends to come to a bit of a crawl. Maybe exaggerating slightly, but you know, it is an issue. It does crop up, and I don't think it's the emulator. I think that's how it is on actual hardware as well. But we'll see that rearing its head in a later level. So just going to get this continue. Hopefully I can get to the end. Extra life as well. I don't know if you get the extra lives straight away, or whether you have to... come on, it's stuck under here now. Or whether you have to finish the level to keep those as well. There we go. It's a good idea to stock up on lives and continues in this game, because it is quite hard. I think the 8-bit versions of Sonic are harder than the 16-bit versions. I think they're tougher games. Even though they came out at the same time, they feel like they're much older games. They feel a lot more retro, old school challenge, you know, trial and error kind of games. So the third act in every zone is just a boss fight. Fortunately, I've got a shield carried over from the previous level, so I can take 1 hit. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to take any hits. There's no rings in the third act, so you've got to take the bosses on without getting hit once. Now on the Game Gear, this is quite easy because the screen space is so small you can actually hit Robotnik before he comes down, which you can't do on the Master System. On the Master System, you have to wait, here he comes, and then you can hit him. And yeah, he flies across the screen, and then comes across again, and you have to wait for him. I mean, on the one hand, it's painfully easy on the Game Gear, but on the other hand... Oh, I did actually hit him there. I didn't think I could do that. Huh, yeah, I did actually hit him. Very difficult to hit him. You usually can't. Yeah, on the one hand, it's painfully easy on the Game Gear, but on the other hand, it's a little bit slow on the Master System, just waiting for him to drop. But yeah, it's an example of how it's essentially the same boss, and yet it's completely different just because of how much screen space there is. And that is something that crops up a few times, as you'll see as I play through this. So the second zone is Bridge. Bridge Zone was not a zone from the 16-bit versions. Green Hill was, Bridge was not. It's a little bit... You'll notice there's no picket fences here, but on the Game Gear version there were picket fences at the beginning. Yeah, interesting to note. It's really slowing down here. It seems to slow down when there are item boxes on screen. I don't know, maybe it's... yeah, I don't know why. And those falling bridge planks as well seem to slow it down. Yeah, 3 bounces gets you up here, that's a checkpoint box. The Game Gear version has some sloping platforms. On the Master System it's all kind of steps. Like this here, steps, but on the Game Gear it slopes. Again, I don't know why, not to assume that the Master System wasn't capable of handling sloped platforms, because it obviously can, but they just changed it, so yeah, who knows. What are the differences? There's an extra life up there if I do another job. It's so slow. This isn't the emulation, is it? Is it always this slow on a Master System? Oh my god, but look, as soon as you hit the box, look, it speeds up again. I really don't understand why. Right, the Chaos Emerald is down here, that's the same on both versions. All you've got to do is just stand on the bridge and then wait for it to fall and then jump over. And that's the end of the level. Pretty similar, Act 1, Act 2, I think. I don't think the Game Gear version is particularly different there. So that's 2 Chaos Emeralds. So there's no more Chaos Emeralds in the bridge zone, that was the only one. Just 1 per zone. And now look, both versions have the picket fences. So the graphic was obviously in there somewhere, but they just didn't use it in Act 1. I think the Game Gear version came out afterwards, may have been like a month later, so presumably they had a bit more time to work at it and thought, yeah, let's implement some things that we missed or forgot to put in or something. In fact, this bit is almost completely different. It's got a waterfall underneath you, the bridge layout is different. It's very, very interesting. Yeah, level design is a lot simpler on the Game Gear. The Game Gear as well is capable of handling more colours, I believe. That's probably why they redid the Sonic sprite. He looks a bit more... I don't know, the colours look a bit better. Also, I think he's just a slightly smaller sprite so that he's, not using up too much screen space. Yeah, you'll note that these 8-bit versions don't have any of the, really lovely parallax scrolling that the 16-bit versions have. The background is just moves at the exact same speed as the foreground. There's no kind of, there's no kind of depth effect, no parallax effect. I don't think the Master System could do that without resorting to some, tricks. Yeah, this bit is quite different on the Game Gear. A lot simpler, a lot flatter. Yeah, so that's the end of the level on the Game Gear, but yeah, that is the end on the Master System. And again, picket fence on the Game Gear, no picket fence on the Master System. What is that about? So if you get more than 50 rings when you cross that signpost, that takes you to the bonus level. That's how that works. So it's worth doing because, you're going to lose a lot of lives later on. You want to pick them up quite early. These do get harder as you go. They throw you around a lot more. They put springs in more annoying places. Like this one here. No. Go on, get over. No! Go on, over. go. Oh, extra life. Excellent. 13 seconds. No. Oh, no. Once you start bouncing around like that, it's almost impossible. No! 7, 6, 5. Nah. No, I've lost it. No. Yeah, did I pick up that life there? I don't know if I get to keep the life. You don't keep the continues. I'm pretty sure you don't get the continue unless you... I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I don't think you do, though. So this is Bridge Zone Act 3. And this is a boss fight. Interestingly, extra lives in this game. Once you pick them up... Oh, I'm just going to check this guy. Hold on. That's 3 hits. 4, 5, 6. You see, same boss on Game Gear, but in a different place. 1, 2. There we go. Yeah, I think it's a little bit easier on the Master System. The Game Gear version, you're more likely to sort of walk into him or stand on him by mistake. Whereas at least on the Master System, you could just bounce out of the way. Yeah, what was I saying? Nope, I've forgotten. Yeah, no, it's gone. Anyway, Jungle Zone now. Jungle Zone, I think looks... If you look at the background here, a bit more plain on the Master System, a bit more fancy on the Game Gear. It's got some extra fruit, a bit more colourful. Otherwise, it's pretty... Oh, just died on the Game Gear there. Yeah, no, otherwise it's pretty similar. Again, Jungle Zone is not a zone from the 16-bit game. It was an original zone. 3 of the zones are from the 16-bit Sonic, and the rest are not. They are original, unique zones. Yes, I was saying about extra life. So, interestingly, when you get an extra life, that is then gone. If you die and start the level again, the extra life isn't there. I don't think any other Sonic game does that. Maybe it's a way to stop you from cheating and picking up loads of lives, and I don't know, because you can do that a bit in Sonic 2. You can rack up lives and sort of restart levels and rack up more lives, because the boxes respawn, but on this version they don't. So I think the Chaos Emerald is in this one. There's no little floating log here on the Master System, but there is on the Game Gear. There is one further along, I think, but not on that particular bit of water. The water's got kind of a current, it kind of drags you back as you try to walk through it. Right, this... Yes, okay, this is where I've got to go. So, it's a bit easier on the Game Gear, you can just drop down, but on the Master System you've got to wait for it to get quite low and then jump through the little gap, because that's actually the solid bit. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. You roll the log across, pick up the emerald. There we go. And then roll back again. Yeah, the level design's a little bit different, but it's the same basic idea. Just got to slowly wait for the logs to come back. Yeah, I can see why they changed this for the Game Gear, because jumping into the abyss, jumping onto things you can't see is not fun. Right, I think I'm near the end. Oh, it's so slow. Whee! Oh no! Ah. Right. Thankfully there's a checkpoint there. You know, they remove those checkpoints in Sonic 2. to play the whole level without dying. So that's something, I suppose. No, mind the... Very carefully jump over that. There we go. And look, the end signpost is in a different place. So if you get a Sonic on the post, you get an extra life. I don't know what triggers it. I don't know if it's random or if it's... I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. Jungle Act 2. Yes, so this one is famously different. Look, on the Master System, you can't go back down again. The screen only scrolls one way, but on the Game Gear, you can jump back down without dying. I think that is a massive improvement on the Game Gear, because there are so many times where I've accidentally sort of either jumped a little bit higher than I wanted to and then touched the bottom of the screen and died, or I've just slipped off something. Like that, see? Whereas on the Game Gear I would have just dropped down and climbed back up. I mean, I can kind of see why they did it. I guess maybe they thought that if you could fall all the way back down again, that's actually more frustrating than if you just die and carry on, particularly if you've just hit a checkpoint. Like, if you hit a checkpoint and then fall down and have to climb back up again, it's going to be quicker to just die and go back to the checkpoint. Or maybe they just did it because they wanted it to be harder, I don't know. But anyway, if the Game Gear version did come later, then that suggests to me that they realised that was a not a good thing, and so they changed it. Or maybe they thought that would just be too hard to do on the Game Gear. I don't know. I mean, it's not... I wouldn't say this is a hard level, but that aspect of it is a little bit tricky. It's the only level I can think of where you go up the screen instead of across. I think the waterfall looks nicer on the Game Gear as well. But I think the graphics in general on the Game Gear look a bit nicer. Nearly there, I think. I think it's a slightly higher climb on the Master System. But I think I'm at the top now. Yeah. So yes, so I've got another bonus stage to go in here. I'm doing all right for lives. I think I should be able to get through this in one go. Oh look, see, this one's interesting. This is the first time flippers, like pinball flippers, have been used in a Sonic game. Was in the Sonic 1. They weren't even in Mega Drive Sonic 2. The flippers. Oh, were they? No. Yes, they were. Yes. Casino Night. Yeah. Or when did Sonic Spinball come out? Was that around the same time? I don't know. So, Jungle Zone Act 3. Again, this is a boss fight. Quite a tricky one, actually. So I'm going to pick up the extra life that's down here. Yeah, that's in the same place on the Game Gear. Although on the Game Gear, it's harder to jump up out of the water because of his jump height being lower. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same until you get to the top, and then this bowl section is smaller on the Game Gear because it's a smaller screen. So you've got less room to move, and therefore perhaps a little bit harder on the Game Gear. But on the other hand, he flies down lower, so you can hit him more often. So it's a bit of a trade-off. You've just got to be careful. Try to be patient, I think, with boss fights in this game. That's the key. Don't try to hit him too many times in a row. Just hit him once, move out the way, hit him again, move out the way. And definitely watch those balls. There we go. And be very careful when jumping off this vine, because the number of times I've just run off of it and died after beating the boss, I'd rather not say. Too many. Alright, I think that's about the halfway point now. So the map screen has changed now. Shows you the higher up parts of the island. So this is Labyrinth Zone. Labyrinth Zone is also in the 16-bit games. This first act has a whole section on the right here on the Master System that isn't there on the Game Gear. So that's quite interesting. All it really does is loop round to the same part. It's just like an alternate route. It still ends up in the same place, but it's completely absent on the Game Gear. Generally speaking, the Master System version is a bit more. The level design is a bit simpler again on the Game Gear. You'll notice this in a few places as I play through this now. More spikes, I think, on the Master System. Yeah, so you start running out of breath, I don't know, after like 30 seconds or something. Just need an air bubble. You actually get quite a long time to find one after the countdown starts. These spikes are always annoying, even on the 16-bit games. I hate these. There we go. Need another air bubble. There's a checkpoint. Come on. These things are very annoying. What I'm going to have to do is wait for him to fire all his things, his spikes, then drop down. Pick up another air bubble, then bounce up again, and then roll into him. I cannot find another way of doing that without being invincible or something. This is a really, really slow level. You know, the game is already slow anyway. There's all the bubbles on screen. The surface of the water has like an animated surface. I think they all count as objects, as sprites. There's just too much going on screen that slows the game down, and Sonic's already slow underwater. Like, his movement is at least half of his normal out of water speed. So when you combine all these things together, it becomes a very slow, painful level. I mean, I've got to say though, the water effect for the Master System and the Game Gear is quite impressive. I'm assuming it's using some sort of horizontal line interrupt effect. Oh my god, what was the point of getting that shield? I'm assuming it's using some sort of line interrupt horizontal effect to create the different colour palette halfway down the screen. Yeah, which is quite clever. For an 8-bit system. That's how the Mega Drive did it as well. I'm not sure what that button is over there, but I'm going to ignore it and see if I can still get through. Yes. Okay, I don't know what that button was for. But yeah, it's a painfully slow underwater level, and I don't know. I don't think it's playing to the system's strengths, a level like this. The Chaos Emerald is in this act, and yeah, it's in a bit of a sneaky place. which you'll see in a moment. Okay, spikes there, not on the Game Gear. There's something over here, but I can't remember what it is. I don't think it's anything important, so I'm going to ignore it. This bit, I think this bit is completely different on the Game Gear. Like, this whole layout just doesn't match at all. Some rings up here, I think. Yeah. Rings up there, yeah, that's all it was, just rings. Do I want to go this way? Not going to be able to get through here. Oh, come on. Why is it still invincible? No. I don't think I wanted to go that way anyway. Shouldn't have gone that way. Yeah, your invincibility doesn't last very long after being hit. It's not, particularly underwater, you can't try to abuse it like that. Grab a bit of there. No rings. There we go. So, I'm not sure where I'm going now. Try along here. Should really stop at every air bubble, because you never know when the next one's going to be. Right, there's an extra life down here in both versions. It's slightly easier to get on the Game Gear, and it gives you a spring to get back quickly, whereas on the Master System you've got to roll into it, grab it, and then as quick as you can get back before you run out of air. It's very harsh. Come on. Whew. Okay, that was lucky. My god. So in the 8-bit versions of Sonic 1, when you lose your rings, you have no opportunity to get them back. You see a ring fall out of you, just one ring, but you can't pick it up. Yeah, so so sometimes it's best not to collect all the rings, leave a few around so you can pick another one up if you need to. They did improve that in the sequel. In the sequel you can pick up 1 or 2 rings. Come on, come on, come on. But in the sequel they took out shields, which is interesting. Probably thought being able to collect rings made it too easy, wasn't it? Okay, we're safe. Try to avoid that. Right, Chaos Emerald is coming up in a moment. In order to get it, it's almost like a puzzle. You have to do a particular thing and go fast, which is easier said than done. Come on. Watch out for that. Right, so up here, up on the left and up on this platform, there's some invincibility stars. I need to get those. And then very quickly, quick as I can, run through here before they run out. It is possible. You just can't stop for a second. Just run all the way through, and there it is, in the spike pit. And that's how you do it. On the Game Gear, it's right here, below some spikes, which is not really a puzzle anymore, but I don't know, it's a bit of a silly puzzle. Like, if you didn't know it was there, you'd probably see it and then you wouldn't be able to get it, and you can't go back and get the stars after you've already got them because they're gone. So, I don't know, yeah. It's not really hidden at all on the Game Gear. They couldn't think of anywhere different to put it. They just obviously didn't like the idea of jumping into a spike pit. So there is an extra life up here on the Game Gear, on the Master System version, on both versions I think, but it's a little bit harder to get. I might just try it quickly. There's more spikes on the Master System. On the Game Gear it's a little bit easier. I'm not going to try and do it again, I'll just lose another life. Right, what's the point? Yeah, let's just go straight to the boss. This is another boss where you have to be very patient and just wait for him. You can't run out of breath on this level, even though you're underwater. You've got infinite air. You can hit him twice sometimes. You've got to avoid his torpedo. I might just hit him once and jump away. In some ways it's a little bit easier on the Game Gear because he's closer, you know, he's a bit easier to hit. But it's very, very slow, and you really just have to be patient, just wait for him to fire his torpedo, then move out of the way. Don't hit him when he's in the middle because you'll just fall off or land on his bullets or something. There we go. Okay, so that is the Labyrinth zone. I forget what's next. What is next? Could be Scrap Brain. Yes. Scrap Brain Zone, which is the last level in the 16-bit version, but not the last level in the 8-bit version. The gaps in the floor are smaller on the Game Gear, and I think the spikes or the flames or something, the flames here are in a different place, the rings are in a different place on the Game Gear. I think there might be different enemies, or different enemy placement anyway, slight differences, but essentially it's the same level. Actually, I've got to say, Scrap Brain Zone 8-bit, I think, is an easier level than Scrap Brain Zone 16-bit. Scrap Brain Zone in 16-bit is really, really hard. On this, I don't think it's quite so hard. I've not been hit by anything yet. There's no spoke too soon. There's no annoying sort of buzzsaws going across the ground. And that's it, end of the act. The Chaos Emerald in this one. It's somewhere. Yes, okay, I remember where it is. So again, both versions of this are pretty similar. Just smaller holes in the floor. Slightly more confined level design on the Game Gear. Act 2 is a bit bigger. Oh, come on. Ow. Oh dear. I'm out of rings. Oh my god. Yeah, a little bit harder now, Act 2. Can't get through there now. I'm gonna have to go up here. If you want the Chaos Emerald, take the upper route. And then interestingly, it kind of fades to black and loads another section of the level. So it's like split into 2 maps, or 3 maps even. Jump over the first gap, jump over the second gap, but the third gap Oh no, you want to fall down there. There we go. Into this teleporter, and you will find the Chaos Emerald. It's over on the right on the Master System, it's on the left on the Game Gear, but basically it's in the same place. And then once you come back out, just go back up here. Because you need to press the switch. You can't actually get through here yet, but you can keep it open so that when you go round the other way, you can get through. So now you just got to carefully jump over these gaps. Then you could pick up a bit of speed. Roll down the slope. Then take the lower route, go back this way. Okay, so I'm going to roll down here. Mind these things. There's extra enemies actually on the Game Gear version. And then once you get down to a certain area, I think it's here, you should yeah, I was supposed to jump across there. I'll try that again. Takes you up to the top. So drop down. Not this bit, next bit. Okay, very carefully, jump across. There we go. So now you'll find you're in the bit that you opened earlier. All you got to do now, just jump across. Mind that spring. Took that out on the Game Gear. And that's it. Now, unlike other zones, Scrap Brain Zone does have a third act that's not a boss fight. Mixing things up a bit now. So the third act is just another level. It's a simpler level. It's kind of like a maze. I don't think there's even any enemies in this level. You just basically open doors and find your way to the top. That's pretty much it. I can get that extra life. Okay, let me show you how to do that. Basically you go... no, not that way. Basically you go to the top. All the way as high as you can go, then go over to the right, no, up here, then to the right, then up, and then right. And that takes you all the way back down to the bottom. And you get the extra life. The life counter in the corner of the screen only goes up to 9, but I've got, I don't know, 13 or 14 or something like. Yeah, so that's worth bearing in mind. I'm not sure how many continues I've got. I shouldn't have to use any. I think I'll be okay. Keep going up. Oh, no, press it once, press it once. There we go. I think that is it. Yep, so then you chase Robotnik, he goes up in his little floating platform. And that's it. Final level is Skybase, which is another new level. Well, that's kind of similar to Flying Battery from Sonic 2, but no, not Flying Battery, Wing Fortress. This is a very hard level. On the Master System, it's very hard. On the Game Gear, not quite as hard. It's actually quite different. The level design is almost completely different on Game Gear. It's a lot simpler. Much harder, I think, on the Master System. You've got to avoid these lightning things. You've got to avoid the cannons shooting you. Quite tricky. Just getting the timing right. Oh my god. Just knowing where you can and can't stand is hard enough. Okay, we're good to stand here, I think. Oh my god. Oh my god. These things are so annoying. I might just let him pass. Sorry, it's tedious, but I'm not going to get past him otherwise. Just let him go overhead. La la la. Okay, we're getting there, we're getting there. Right, stand on this and it moves. Jump down on that one. Jump up and it stops, of course. Alright, I think I am just about there now. There we go. There, that is a hard level. That is hard. The second act, much easier, as you'll see why in a moment. So, if you look down here, at the beginning of the level, you'll see a hidden platform. Just follow that, just stay on it. A little bit boring, but this is the only way to get the Chaos Emerald on this level. Jump to the next one. God, it's really slowing down. I don't know why it's slowing down here. What is it? The clouds? The propellers? Too many physics going on at once? I don't know. Yeah, it's really struggling a bit. Anyway, just stay on here. You get right to the front of the airship and you'll be able to jump up, and there is the Chaos Emerald right there. Oh. Right, one good thing is when you die, if you've collected a Chaos Emerald already, you keep it. You don't have to get it again. So I can show you the... Oh my god. I can show you the other route. It is very treacherous. Oh my god. Bomb. Okay, we're good. Woohoo! Okay, and that's where it comes out. So that's where the emerald would have been. I've already got it, so just remember to avoid these cannon things. Unlike in Mario, you can't jump on them. All right? They don't have little faces on them. They're not cute. I think that's the end of the level now. Notice the colour scheme is different as well. It's kind of bluey on the Master System and grey on the Game Gear. Again, don't know why. Probably something to do with the different colour palettes of the systems. Skybase 3. I think this is the last level. Yeah. Okay. This is a fairly tricky level on either system. They are different. Robotnik still presses the button that shoots a little energy ball at you. On the Game Gear, the energy ball comes out of the middle. On the Master System, it comes out of the side. There's this electrical force field on the Master System, but on the Game Gear it's some flames coming out the ground. I think it's a bit easier on the Game Gear. A little bit easier. They're both difficult. The electricity stopped. Okay. Yeah, the pattern changes about halfway through. Yeah, so on the Game Gear I've already done it by now. Just takes a bit longer on the Master System. I think he needs 12 hits. I think it's more than 8. I think it is 12. Correct me if I'm wrong. Little energy balls actually aren't the problem here. They're fairly easy to avoid. It's just timing your movement through the electrical barrier. That's the difficult bit. Right, see, it's stopped now. It's going to wait for me. And then as soon as I run through it, it starts again. So now it's on a kind of sequence. Ah, I was so close. Right, okay, this time. We're doing it this time. Get your 2 hits in at the start. Right, sequence is changing. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is quite difficult. The first half is fine because the movement of the beam movement and the beam on and off occur at the same time. But then it starts following you. Okay. Here we go. I have done this already, but obviously I've not had a lot of practice. That was so close. Okay, come on, I can do this. Yes! Follow him through, jump on his teleporter, disappear before he does. Well, that's it, there we go. And then that's the ending sequence. Yeah, I think it's slightly different sequence if you don't get all the emeralds. Presumably that doesn't happen, I can't remember. It's been a while since I've played it without getting the emeralds. But anyway. Sonic throws them up in the air. Gets rid of all the pollution on the island. Job well done, Sonic. Okie dokie, folks. Thanks for watching this video. Got a bit hairy at the end there, but I got through it. I hope that's given you sort of an insight into both versions of the game. You know, as I said, I want to cover all the 8-bit Sonic games on this channel, and I didn't really want to do 2 videos of Sonic 1, one after the other, so I thought I'd just combine them. Yeah, so overall then, which version is best? Which version do you prefer? I think having played these again now, obviously the Master System has one big overriding advantage, and that is the screen space, and it makes quite a lot of difference, generally speaking, for games like Sonic the Hedgehog, because they're quite fast and you need to see around you to avoid obstacles and enemies and so on. So straight off the bat, the Master System has a big advantage. But I think in every other area, I think the Game Gear version is the stronger version. And I think the alterations to the level design to accommodate the smaller screen actually do make a difference, and they kind of negate that advantage that the Master System has. I think the simpler level design on the Game Gear is just more fun anyway. The levels just flow better because they're simpler, I suppose. A little bit less annoying, it's bug fixes and things like that. Yeah, so I like the artwork more on the Game Gear. I like the redrawn Sonic sprites. I think on the whole I prefer it. Let me know what you think. Did you have either of these growing up? Did you have a Game Gear? Did you have a Master System? Let me know what you think, and I'll do some more of these Sonic videos. I'll try to get through all the 8-bit games again. But for now, that is it. So again, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.